Welcome everybody. This is CBSI presents Tales from the FlipSide, number 57. I'll change it. It's cool. Today we are going to talk about some crazy auctions on Jordan cards and Into the Spider-Verse winning an Oscar. That's going to be cool. Donnie Cates getting death threats, and our main topic today is grading comics. We'll discuss the three main companies and much more. And for all your speculation needs, go to comicbookinvest.com. For all your comic book speculation. I'm Dino. Boys, introduce yourselves.
Hey, P-Dubs here, Monday night, just gearing up for the week.
Sky Too Hottie, Forgotten 5 Comics. That's about it. I got nothing.
Brian McClay. It starts snowing in Arizona and everybody goes haywire.
Oh, jeez.
So, I do blame that snowing as me getting the flu. Yeah.
Was it half an inch, dude? What is it?
No, man. We got in the middle to high country, which is like in between us and Flagstaff. They got like 30 inches or something like that.
Wow.
So you can see Flagstaff from your backyard?
No, but I can see those mountains with all the snow on them, which is pretty rare.
You get 30 inches if you pile it all across the state up in one pile, right?
Yeah. We actually had it snowed enough to actually stick to the ground.
Wow.
So that was pretty interesting.
I saw it snowed in Vegas last week in
Yeah.
LA.
That's the same time it did it out here. Unfortunately, it got tens of thousands of people sick because we're just not used to it.
All right. John Z from the land where it snows every day. Though your Forgotten 5 partner Tony posting pics of snow past his window.
Oh my god, mailbox.
Well, he's manning the wall.
Yeah.
It's definitely taller than him.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
That doesn't take much, mind you.
He showed a picture of his buddy's house, and it was literally like up to the kitchen window. Like,
What's up, guys? It's Brian Wood, Superman's Comics. Monday night, fighting through the grind. Still getting over a cold, but happy to be with the fellas.
Man, that cold is a mother. I've had it for 2 weeks.
And now it's just like a dry cough that lingers.
Oh god.
And it's Ben S. And if you tuned in to see if I could follow up last week's pickups, you will be disappointed.
oh, come on, man!
I mean, I expect
You
that every
should've
week,
spent
son.
like $10,000 this week.
Speaking of pickups, I think we all got some pickups, maybe. At least some of us might.
What do you have, Dino?
Why you gotta put me on the spot like that? Hold on, let's see.
You're first on the list.
Let's do it. Okay. Let's see what we got here in the magic box today. Let's see. So, nothing too crazy. Actually, I didn't even open it up yet. I feel bad. These guys are like, "What are you guys doing? You guys are professional podcasts here." Okay. So,
I mean, we're trying to be, but
I know, right? It's just terrible.
we'll get by.
I know, right? So basically, let me rip this off.
More
Hack stuff, dude. It's crazy. It's like, I can't stop. Once you go down this rabbit hole, it's over. So, more hack stuff. This is actually a cool one. I like this one today. Little Black Hood action.
Yeah, it is a cool one.
The Fox. I think I sold that one. That's another one. This is part of that Jughead, the Hunger one. The other one's the one that Mr. Paul gave me. Some Doctor Who's. I don't know. I might have gave it to. This is a shadow, but some Doctor Who's that it's hard to find. These Doctor Who's are tough, man. And I gave.
Yeah, who orders Doctor Who?
Oh, dude, Stein knows. It's like everybody passes that stuff. Here's another cool one. It was Judge Dredd one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
I like that one.
He did Judge Dredd one. That was kind of difficult. Here we go. For us boys out here who are in the video games, he did 2 video game covers. He did this Dark Souls one. Oh, sorry. So he did a Dark Souls one, and he did this one too. So
That's badass.
yeah.
All the skulls.
Yeah, those are sweet.
And then I got a couple more books. I didn't even know. I can't even remember that I picked this up, but I got I did a little variant shopping. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Yeah. So I picked one up.
Midtown,
yeah. I swung for it. I mean, I saw prices aren't that crazy. I mean, it's not like it's $1,000 book or something. And then, last but not least, we can look at it. Number was it 47?
Oh yeah, I guess I did.
So, and then, bam, all night.
I got number 4.
That's a dope looking cover.
I got number 4, so suck it, Dino.
Damn you.
I got number 2.
I'm that much higher up. What'd you get, Wood?
Number 2.
Damn it, you're higher up in the hierarchy.
Who got number 1? That's a conspiracy we need to solve.
You know he kept number 1.
Yeah, he had to have kept.
I'm on the flat Earth conspiracy, and I'm on the who got number 1.
Damn it, who else is above me?
Damn it, I'm at 166. I'm on the fucking.
Oh, you're on the outs.
Hey,
I'm barely on the podcast.
It's funny because you know Mr. Golden Age and me and Ben hang out and do the Golden Age talks. Yeah, he must care about you. No,
Paul's probably got number 6 or something. Jesus,
I haven't opened mine yet. I should do it live on air.
You should, and then we can make fun of you too.
If I rank below Paul, Jesus, man,
right now.
Did I show you? I don't have it with me, but I didn't know I bought this, and I feel bad. But it's at Sean's house right now. I have a Moon Knight Sinkovich number 1.
Nice.
Oh gosh.
I think it might be a 9.8. I think so. I don't have it with me. Our boy Sean, he pressed it. He said it looks decent. So
it doesn't have the gold staples, right?
No gold staples.
It's not the Latvian.
The Latvian variant. Yeah. Oh God. You know what's funny, boys? Is I'm presenting right now, but I've bought so many big books over the last 2 or 3 months since Christmas, dude. I don't even remember what I bought. It's terrible. Big boy books, man.
Yeah, when you start buying a lot, you just I don't remember buying this.
I get books every day now from Midtown to my comic shop and whatnot. I'm like, I don't know. She's like, what else did you get? I'm like, it's one of those things I don't know. I gotta open it up. And I go, oh yeah, I bought that. So who wants to go next?
Paul, what do you got?
Paul's gone.
Oh, Paul's
All right. I just got one.
Okay. Hold on 1 second.
I got one, and I just got embarrassed on my 166, so I won't
It's
even
from
show
Kazakhstan.
Yeah. I may have even actually shown this. I bought a duplicate of a book I had with all the non-canon Spider-Man stuff. I bought another copy of this non-canon Nick Fury.
That's cool.
Purely just because of the pinup girl in me.
The headlights.
Because of the
headlights. Yeah, the maybe the Nazi girl. I don't know.
Because of the boobies.
Yeah, that's why you buy them, boobies and butts. So. But this is a nicer copy than the one I had, so I went for it.
Nice.
And speaking of that, next week's episode, we do have hopefully a special guest, one of the kind of experts in the foreign collecting world, kind of talk about all the stuff going on and give you guys something new to hunt for. So
awesome. Looking forward
should
to
be
that.
good.
Who else?
Are you done, Z?
That's it. That was a slow week.
So I'll go next. I've been really sick the past 5 days, just kind of down and out, and so it gave me a chance to kind of go through old stock and start pulling out. I've been putting more stuff up on eBay. I've been going through more stock, and so this is a little bit different than new pickups, just stuff that I didn't realize I had.
Ooh,
and I went through a box that I obviously haven't been through in ages, and with the new Gotham City Sirens movie or the Birds of Prey movie, I got the all 3 of the connecting. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, sweet.
The 5, 6, and 7.
Those covers are great.
Yeah, it's really cool how nice they connect and they look good when they're together. And then I grabbed these, and just to ask Ben, are these the 75th anniversary variants the same as the ones you had last time? This is the Batman.
Yes, that's part of the same set. Yes.
Okay, cool. So I found this in a box. I had no idea what it was. And then also this one here.
Nice.
So the Batman and Robin number 38, and then the Batman 703.
That's a good cover, man. A lot of people buy that cover, the reprint stuff.
Are these all 1 in 25s, or does it range?
No, the Batman's like a 1 in 10, so it's probably one of the most easy to get. And then some are 1 in 25, they're just kind of all over the place. I'm not really sure why they I mean, and then the Wonder Woman has a black and white, which is completely different than everything else.
Yeah, is that the 600 variant?
Yeah, the 600.
So, and then I found a stack of 20 of these copies, and I must have been betting on Birds of Prey or Suicide Squad 2 way back in the day, and then I just forgot about it because it kind of went dormant. But this was kind of interesting. The Batman Arkham Unhinged #7, and it's got Poison Ivy, Harley, and Catwoman
Yeah, it's a cool cover.
on a cover together. So.
Is that a variant?
No, I don't think it's a variant. I think it's just a regular. It's just a regular cover. But if I bought 20 of them, I probably picked them up for 50 cents a pop. So
Do you know who that artist is?
it is. No, I don't. It doesn't say. It's Batman Arkham Unhinged #7. It doesn't say the cover artist. I don't even got a signature, so I'll have to look that up. And then finally, two more that I was really stoked to find was a really nice copy of Batman #635. Really nice. So I'll probably send that one in to get graded and hope that it has something in the future. And then I love finding books like this.
Oh,
Yeah, Batman
Wow.
880, perfect condition.
nice.
Had no idea I had another one. So
I gave you $1 for it.
yeah.
Give me
This is gonna
two.
be going off to Sean, hopefully, with some of the other old school books to get graded. So we'll see.
That book in 9.8 is crazy right now.
I can't believe how much it's going for raw. It's going. I've seen people pay $400
$400
for it raw. So
I saw somebody on Facebook posted that they made like old Chuck Taylors with that on the shoes.
that's badass. I did see a car here in the Phoenix area. It was a black car with those bat logos and stuff, like on a, what do they call those wraps that you can put on a car instead of painting it?
Mm-hmm.
And they made it look like it was fading into the color of the car out of yellow. It was pretty dope. Pretty amazing what they could do with those wraps nowadays.
Yeah.
Oh, and Brian, that cover artist is Miko Suwayan.
Oh, never heard of him. Her.
Yeah,
That's one person I always butcher their name. I just say Miko, that guy. That person.
Miko person.
Swayan.
Yeah. That's all I got.
that's awesome.
Once you go
Anybody
next.
else?
I got one book.
One book.
So this book I've been hunting for a while, and then I saw one come up for cheap a little bit ago, and the Z brother got it, and it annoyed me. But I made up because I got the Thundercats #1 a while back. But I did finally get the Ben Oliver
Nice.
Lost Army variant. So yeah, I got this on eBay, $120.
Nice.
Not bad.
Awesome.
One I was hunting for a little while.
Cool.
All right, so I opened my Golden Sun.
What number did you get?
He got #1.
276.
Z, what
Out
number
of
were you?
250.
You're muted, Z. What do you got?
166.
172.
I am
That's
6
funny.
above Paul. Holy hell, I'm in the gutter.
However, I do have a Sharpie.
What have I done to piss C off? That is the question.
Oh,
Yep.
goodness.
I was in Nowhere Town, USA over the weekend, and I just plugged in, comic shops near me, and a couple of the noteworthy pickups in the dollar bin. It's had a Mad Magazine, Star
Ooh,
Trek.
that's
That was
cool.
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Picked that up for the hell of it. I got these two books for Tim Walker.
Too much
Oh,
coffee,
wow.
man. Yeah.
I'll send those to him as a surprise. And then the better pickup though, I was thumbing through the boxes and just looking up books because you know how it is. Just the covers look familiar to you, and sometimes you just get dumb brain when you're digging unless you're Dino and have all that knowledge in your head forever.
Yeah.
Got a Jason Leatherface
Ooh.
Wow.
one. So
I've
for
been hunting
a,
for one of those. Those are nice.
for a back issue bin price. So that's it. But a good one.
I like
So I had a
those.
good time.
I like
I dug
those.
for about an hour.
I like to pick those up and then the Rob Zombie Creep Show comics when I see them.
Yeah. Those are great books. Were the other ones in there at all, Paul?
No, I didn't. No, didn't see any of them.
Scotty, anything this week?
I just had the CBSI variant. No, I was number 4. Did we talk about that?
Oh goodness. Okay, so here it is, Mr. Stein. Let's see. ASM 667's on the
Yeah, there's
on
a
the chat.
Delano.
No,
How
but, no, but all right. So here's my Knights of the Golden Sun.
What number?
I am at the bottom of the barrel. I am 179.
Wow.
Whoa.
The guy with the top 10 has 179.
Yep.
That means he's like, oh yeah, I forgot about Ben.
Hey.
At least I can argue we were going alphabetically.
Yeah.
I did go back and picked up the Action 75th, the 892 that I said I was going to go back and get.
Nice.
And then what else did you pick up for $1 in
No.
there?
I picked up this one. I'd never even seen this one before. I wasn't even really sure what it was, but it just looked cool. But it's from the Widening Gyre. But it's a
Evan Smith.
Yeah, number 6. It's a 1 in 25, but there's like 0 on eBay. So I wasn't really sure. I thought it was Batgirl at first, but it's that St. Cloud chick or whatever that he was going to marry or something like that.
What series is it? The what?
The Widening Gyre.
Yeah.
It's Walt from Comic Book Man.
Look at the books he has right there. Give me a big old stack.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's ridiculous.
Is that this week's purchase?
This is okay. See, this is bad. I mean, this is how stupid. I just keep buying stuff, and so anybody that thinks I'm making money off of this is ridiculous because I don't sell anything. I just keep piling up until I actually get around to putting them in a box, and then oh yeah, I forgot I had those books. 6 months later, all the hot ones are gone. I did go to a little local show. Me and Z set up at it back before Christmas, but so I just ran up there just for a couple hours or whatever yesterday. Just pick up a few books. These are all just kind of cheap books, nothing major or anything like that. But it's a Spider-Girl 1 Del Mundo variant.
Oh.
I got a Black Panther 5. The first,
Gamble.
yeah, the first Shuri as Black Panther or whatever.
That's cool.
I got 2 of the Justice League 13, the cheetah variants.
Yeah.
Got this Delato Spider-Man, whatever that is.
That's a regular cover, right? 667.
No, it's a variant. I think
Oh,
it's like
60.
a 1 in 5 or a 1 in 10.
Yeah, 687.
687. That's right.
Yeah. I think it's like a 1 in 10 or 1 in 15, something like that.
Those Justice League covers, are those Garner covers?
They are. The Garners. Yeah.
I say it look like Garner.
Yeah, it looks just like those Wonder Woman.
I got one of these Eternals, white covers, whatever those are. Which I heard the Eternals news this week, so that was pretty cool. I finally picked up one. These are all cheap. I mean, these are all like $1.
Yeah, I
$2.
love that book.
I've been looking for that book. I don't got one yet.
Yeah, that was the first one I bought, and but it was only $2, so I was going to buy that. I found that Young Justice Superboy cover.
What number is that?
Cover.
Number 1. It's the one where it's like he's parodying that meme. With the dude checking out the chick. I picked up this Justice League Odyssey, the Terry Dodson variant with.
Wow.
I think Dodson's underrated, man. He has a lot of great covers, man, and it just feels.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I saw it. And it was like I said, it was $2, so I just went ahead and bought it. And then the rest of these were all $1 books. Injustice #1, the second print.
Oh yeah, I buy those.
Yeah, I mean, for $1, you're not gonna. Another Batman, Robin Eternal, 26, the first Orphan. I see these in dollar bins all the time. I don't think people realize that it has that first appearance in it. I picked up These Savage Shores, number 2.
Yeah.
I still I still don't have number 1 or number 3, so I'm not sure how I'm going to read number 2 by itself. But
Well, they're about to put out a new number 1, like a black and white cover.
oh, okay. Well,
Which I made the mistake of calling it fourth print because that's what the writer called it, and then Vault corrected me and said it's the first printing of their new Vault lines books that they're gonna start putting out.
whatever that means.
Yeah.
Whatever, bro.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you on the Savage Swords, brother. After the podcast.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's cool. You don't have to do that. Picked up Die Kitty Die Heaven and Hell number 2, a damn parent variant.
That's a nice one. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I really honestly think I'm going to start picking up a lot. Like I might pull a Dino and go.
Let's do it.
With his hacks. I might just start doing this with damn parent stuff. I don't know why. I think I'm actually next month. I think I'm going to try and talk to him up at C2E2.
I like a lot of his Archie covers.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them. A lot of those Betty and Veronicas are really nice. And then finally for $1, I picked up 2 copies of Die number 1.
Oh, nice.
That's
a great. I read that this week. It's freaking awesome.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it yet. But these are the first 2 copies I found. But yeah, I was surprised they were in the dollar bin, so I just went ahead and got them.
That's pretty fast to put them in the dollar bin.
Yeah, there's some weird. I think I always like to hit those guys that are selling their overstock for $1 at shows and stuff like that.
I can guarantee you I know what shop it was.
Which one?
That sold those?
Yeah.
That's probably that shop out of Kokomo.
No, this was Mavericks, I think.
There's a shop here that every time you go, they're selling last week's books in the dollar bin.
You know what's funny about Kokomo? My cousin lived in Kokomo forever, right? And I went there once, and I wasn't even into comics. Like I was taking a break, and I should win.
But anyways, that's all I got. Nothing big.
Kokomo has a block that has a comic shop, a record shop, a vintage like 80s toy shop with like more Star Wars, G.I. Joe, and Transformers than you ever seen. And then like a gaming store like what's it, Warhammer and that kind of stuff, like hardcore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like 4 consecutive shops.
Wow.
It is like it should be named Geek Street. It kind of unofficially is, but it's not been renamed.
I could always go down to Kokomo. It's only like, I don't know, 3 hours, maybe 4 hours.
Didn't
4
they
hours
make a
in a minute.
song about that?
Yeah, Beach Boys. Beach Boys.
Yeah, and they didn't know it was a town in Indiana. Anyway.
You don't
So
honestly.
It wasn't Kokomo, Indiana, then.
Oh, dude, and you don't want to go to Kokomo. I mean, there's nothing in Kokomo. I hate to say it, right? There's nothing.
I mean,
in Kokomo.
It is a dying auto town, much like Detroit.
Oh, come on, brother.
Z was serenading his dates in high school with that song. Talking about Indiana.
If the Oscars have proven anything, Shinola has brought back Detroit. Okay.
The funniest thing about Kokomo is there's a dive like get your kidneys ripped out of you motel that you drive down the main street heading into town, and it's the Coco Motel.
That's funny.
Oh, you know what?
I say
I picked up this cool Michelangelo figure. I just stumbled upon him on Amazon, and it's like a company called Kid Robot, and they have the whole line. But I think I'm just gonna stick with Mikey. And
they do know that turtles are green, right?
Yeah. It came with this pair of special glasses you put it on, and it turns green.
That's the one for hunting season.
Yeah, hunting season. Yeah, you're right. But yeah, for you sitting right in front of me, totally forgot. So
Cool.
Anybody else have pickups?
I think
Bueller.
Should we let Paul start doing his security pickups, like his personal security item pickups?
Oh, dude,
I would love that, man. We could. I mean, do we have enough time each show to dedicate?
I don't buy something every week.
I want you to review it too. I want you to do a Paul's problem review on.
Bust out that baton thing.
I don't know if our CBSI health coverage covers Paul hurting himself like that.
Yeah,
I'll probably launch it into my monitor live on the show, Scott.
it's probably incidental, right? It's incidental. Is that
It's
what
hilarious. I send a link to Paul, and then immediately Paul's like, "Yeah, I got one."
He's actually not allowed to play with his weapons while he's in the house because the children are in the vicinity.
Oh God, that's funny. So the main topic of the night kind of is graded comics, and this one's going to be an interesting one. So
Yeah.
who
who
put it on?
What do you guys? Good, Dino.
Did you put it on? Who put it on? I don't even know who put it on the outline.
I don't know.
Was it Paul?
So where do we want to start? Let's go there. We want to talk about the companies.
Let's talk about 3 different companies.
Where do you want to talk about who grades what and why?
Let's give a breakdown in case. Let's go for the ultimate guys who have no idea about graded books. Let's establish the three companies and
the three main companies.
More than 3.
I mean, Halo, Pete. No, yeah.
Well,
so
there's at least 3 or 4 sub companies now popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll just keep it to the main 3.
Yeah, that's fine. So the main 3, everybody should know theoretically, is CGC, CBCS, and PGX are the main 3 players in the comic grading game. I guess personal preferences and I guess monetary value. I mean, theoretically, now I don't want to get a bunch of warriors in the chat. It usually goes CGC, CBCS, then PGX is 1, 2, 3 usually. But
Yeah,
that's probably the market.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to argue that.
Yeah, and it's market share too, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at resale, I mean, especially if you go off of resale value,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I definitely think CGC is the the tops. I think Z could attest to that.
Correct.
Yeah, we've heard my and I sent in 10 books between myself and my brothers to be crossed over because it was a pretty solid deal. I mean, now they've kind of. So they announced a program, what it was last fall, to get people to encourage crossover, and they're offering free pre-screening on standard grades, half off traditional grading, and then no charge if it went down. They have since stopped that as of anything postmarked after February 1st. I got
because of how many they got flooded with.
No, that was their program run. It must have been like a 90-day. I think it was a 90-day thing. I bet they started somewhere around November 1st. So I snuck mine in. I mailed some stuff off like the 30th. Got it in. It took a slightly longer to get checked in, but I think it was checked in within a week. They sent me an email. They said, this is what we think the grades are. If we pop them out and go, we don't guarantee it, but this is where we think we are. Of them, most of them were within the same grade, plus or minus 1. Most of them actually said the same grade would stay. There was a PGX that was going to drop a half point. They guaranteed. There's one they recommended for a press, which normally I would not do, but on the particular book I said I would gamble with it and pay the fee because it was worth it to me. And then there's potentially one big book that they said, I'm either going to match or probably have a half point below, and I decided to roll the dice. So on the CBCS books, I think they grade more similar than they don't. I mean, there are some people that argue CBCS grades harder. I think initially, if you get the first generation cases, they probably did. I think they've kind of probably as time went on.
I mean, they probably got so busy that they had to.
Everybody has their ebbs and flows. Every company, CBCS, CGC, PGX. There's probably some years you buy a PGX, you're getting a good deal, but you got to know it.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people shit on PGX, but if you can look at the book and tell that it's at least a decent grade, I mean, you could do well. I mean, I personal example, I bought at ASM 20, PGX 7.5, had Sean press it, it came back at 9.0.
The one nice thing about PGX, besides the
zombie
seller gates, is they do date when they were graded. They tell you when they put it in the slab.
And he went from PGX to CGC. It wasn't PGX to PGX. Sorry, I just wanted to throw it out there because people didn't realize that. So
ended up selling it for $2,500.
And I think there's some times you can tell PGX was legitimately trying, and there's some other times that they're maybe not as much.
I'll tell you what I don't trust. I don't trust their low grades like 4 and below, and I don't trust their high grades like 8, 5 and above. Their middle stuff is usually pretty on, but I do not trust the high and the low because I gave that
too much of a premium for the high.
Yeah, too much of a premium, and you know what? Their 9.8s aren't 9.8s, and their 4.0s aren't 4.0s.
Sleepy John just posted a 9.8 PGX he bought that at best is a 9.2 anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean it's definitely a crapshoot. I would never buy a PGX 9.8 thinking that I'm going to crack it and get a 9.8 back. I think if you do that, you're definitely asking for trouble. I think CBCS, if you get a 9.8 in CBCS, it's most likely going to be a 9.8 CGC.
I think you're safe to say it's a 9.8, 9.6. You know, and heck, sometimes you can get it. Some of those Marvels from the 14, 15s, the color rub's so prevalent that it might have been a 9.8 when it's the case. Now it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody in the chat asked, do you guys ever use CCS pressing with CGC? I did it for the restoration. Was not removal, I guess should be added. The restoration removal, but not. I don't think I've used the pressing.
I got my 2 books getting slow pressed. It's a new method where they put it on a box and let it sit for 6 months.
It's barrel aged.
Yeah, it's barrel. That's what it is. It's box aged.
They just put a barrel and they just do a roller thing. Like,
mm-hmm.
This is what my thoughts on it, and take it or leave it. Scotty, I know, has been waiting forever. We all have heard that their pressing is always slow.
Fast everything if you can.
Yeah, you're paying $60 to have it done. There are numerous great pressers. You know, your partner Sean is fantastic. That charge a fraction of that to do it. Lots of guys on other groups that are good, bad, or medium, like whatever.
Yeah.
But nobody else in the business charges $60 to press a book. Now, that being said, on the right book, the right scenario, it's probably worth it. I did on this crossover because I'm getting the regrade cheap enough, and if it takes the bump, I'm happy. It would have cost me probably net neutral to have Sean press it, crack it, send it back, and take that gamble.
Yeah, we talked about it. You're gonna. I mean, it's smarter. They already have it. Might as well. Yeah.
If you have a signature series book, that's the only
mine
way
was an SS.
The only way you're getting it done is if it started an SS and you think it can be pressed and graded, then that's the only way it's going to happen. And if it's the right book, you know, I got a book I'm sitting on that is a 9.6 old label CGC that I keep thinking I'm going to press and crack, and I keep debating if it's worth it. And I don't know. Some of those things, if you want to have them pre-screened, it's probably worth it on the right book.
That's like my Granoff. It's 9.6. Do I crack it and press it? I mean, that's the gamble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much any 9.8 modern 9.8. Like, do you roll the dice? And
I do want to address Blue Green Artifacts. He says economics swear that they grade their own pressers higher. I guess grade economics swears that they grade their own pressers higher. Maybe he means like
CSS.
Yeah, well, they have to I mean, that makes sense. They have to justify their service. Like, if they don't bump the grades up, then nobody's going to use the service. So,
unless he meant
it's more likely to take a bump.
Yeah.
Unless he meant if you send your book to your local presser versus sending it to CSS.
Yeah, I mean, we've gotten me and Scotty alone, and probably everybody in this group's got Sean to press books, and that you probably can attest that he's probably one of the best, I would say, in the industry. And that's just not getting part of my company. It's just because, or our company, he's just, he is the man at what he does. He sees things. You know what's funny? The good thing about Sean is he sees things that no one else sees. Like, I'll send him a picture of like a My Comic Shop book or whatever book, and he'll zoom in. And
look at the corner that's got this and that, and there's
just has another set of eyes.
Yeah. And he's really good at it too, and especially when he gets the book too. He's like, "Hey, and he knows what he can fix." And like, I spent that week with him in Baltimore, and I learned so much from him. Like, it's just not blowing smoke of his ass. It's like just trying to learn a lot from him. Like, hey, I can do this. You can do this. I can't fix color bleach, obviously, but I can fix this waviness, or I can do this, or I can do that. So it's awesome having a guy like that as a member, but he doesn't have a site. Asking what his site is. He doesn't have a site.
He's got plenty of business without a site.
Yeah, pretty much. He's got stellar business. If hit me up, Blue Green, you can hit me up on the channel in a message or something, and I'll hook you up. So
now, get back to like the three different companies. Who do you guys think has the better case? I mean, obviously,
CGC.
to me, I think it's CGC, the new one.
PGX.
What are you guys' thoughts? I mean, do you think they've dealt with the book storage long-term issue? Like, I know they've kind of adjusted the case a few times. I still, like, on some Golden Age books, I get a little weary on putting them in there.
You can't.
Like,
I mean, the problem is you can't.
Modern, I'm fine. It is pretty. It is beautiful. But sometimes I feel like they cram them into some of those cases.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think it's PGX. I mean, and I hate to say it, like, okay, I think the case, if we're just talking in a case, not the label and everything, that case, like, we always joke about it, but if I'm going to war against zombies, I'm taking the PGX case with me. I mean,
that new CGC one's pretty close.
It is pretty. It ain't gonna break. I actually, if I'm gonna ship one, I don't worry about those breaking. Truthfully,
I mean, I saw one. I mean, I saw the guy at Baltimore. He was slanging them, man. He was cracking corners and making it look good, dude.
You could probably put a new CGC in a bubble mailer, and it's got an 80% chance of getting there.
Yeah.
I mean, I still double box mine, but I put mine on bubble mailers and then put them in 2 double boxes. I'm not gonna wood, right, boys. I've never had an issue like of it cracking, unless somebody just legitimately steps on it and then snaps it in half.
And even if they do, they might crack, but they aren't going to probably ruin the book. Where some of those old.
You guys forget my my one book.
I'm not saying never. I'm just saying
if they run over it with a truck and drop it in the mud water, it'll ruin the book.
Worst case on most times with those new cases, it might crack.
Oh yeah,
but it is.
Hey,
it is a serious thing to really damage that book.
I dropped that 98. Remember that? I dropped that 98 and the only corner cracked. I mean,
that Finch was it? The
That's
Finch?
true.
Now, now, what do you guys think? Like, who has the best service out of all three? Because I think that, I mean, they're all doing the same thing. Like, which one of these companies does it?
Turnaround time, you do PGX.
PGX.
I've never heard anybody say they don't turn it around.
I used them once, and it was literally like, it was like 3 weeks from when I sent them out to when I got them back, and it was the standard service. Like, it was pretty amazing how fast it was.
Well, I'll say this. I got one of my good friends, Kyle Stinson, who's one of the hosts on Absolute Geek podcast. He's been going through hell lately with CBCS, and he's probably got a good leg to stand on, saying that they don't do what they say they're doing, i.e. pressing books. A lot of books that he's getting back are showing damage that definitely wasn't there when he sent out. And on top of that, he waited over 10 months, I want to say, to get these books back.
Wow.
And I don't know. Those are 3 biggies when it comes to grading, right? I mean,
yeah,
waiting for books is one thing, but when you get books back that, get a lower grade after a press, there's something kind of weird with that,
I would say everybody's got those stories about all those companies.
Yeah, I think CGC messed up a few of my books before.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that say finger bends and things
they legit dropped one of mine. I mean, they dropped that A1, that Art Germ variant, Ben. That was a 9.8 all day, and they just dropped it and it came back at 9.4. Me and Sean were like, he took pictures of it, and there was nothing there. I still can't see it. I don't know. I mean,
there's the infamous Matt DeVoe coffee stain on the back of one of his.
Oh God. Yeah.
I had a one run at, like, I think it was Baltimore, was like 4 or 5 of them had finger bends, and I'm like, all these books were pressed. Like, there's no friggin' way they had finger bends on them.
Yeah. I think all the companies, there is potential for somebody to screw up on a given.
They hire new people, new people don't know exactly what they're doing. I mean, it's going to happen.
No.
I mean, we've seen the days at the cons when they're just stacking books up.
You know what's funny? I just wish. I mean, I know they would never do it, but I just wish that they say, "Hey, man, we dropped your book. Can we actually, we'll give you like even $10 back, something, something back, right? I mean,
Because as soon as they do that, people take advantage of it.
I know people will be like, "Oh, you dropped my book." And I mean, it
Oh
was a
no, it's
9.8.
not the grade I wanted, so you got to
Yeah.
give me a refund.
Yeah, it's
I
a
will-
9.8.
I will say CGC one time admitted to screwing up one of my books. They originally offered to find me another one in the grade it was, but it was something that was basically not feasible to replace in a reasonable amount of time. They gave me all my fees back, all my shipping, and I think the value difference between the two books. Now it was an extenuating circumstance, but I will say that they did their best to make it right.
Yeah.
I do think from also other stories I've heard. Yeah, you can't say every book that's a finger bend, but if they truly have something go wrong, I think they do the best job of trying to make it right.
They do. I mean, you know what's funny is like even though if they lose your book, like she loses your book for whatever reason or something happens, they're like, "We'll get you another one." I mean, I don't know if it happens with like Hawk ones, but I mean, if it's a pretty common book, usually they do right by you and say, "Hey, we'll hook you up and we'll find a book or something equivalent." I mean,
Yeah, I mean it's a shame CBCS hasn't been able to really like get any real market share.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. When do you think you're going to see the benefit of Beckett buying CBCS? Because
We should have seen it a
We had
while.
we had all those chances before Beckett.
well,
Like,
you know,
they've really blown it.
well, the thing too is like Beckett, like the card guys here, like, come on, man, it's like great comics and books aren't probably. I mean, I understand it's different, but it shouldn't be, right? I mean, if the processes are the same, right? I mean, you're slabbing something, you're giving it a grade. I mean, I'm a guy who's in a business who has a process. Everything has a process or a procedure. It's like theoretically, right? Most of it should be.
I think
thing.
where they're losing is not keeping their turnaround times and they're not providing the service that they're saying they're offering. I think
Yeah.
they're really alienating people.
Turnaround times has got to be the biggest part.
I
Yeah.
mean, look, if you tell me it's going to be 6 months, that's fine. But at 6 months, don't tell me it's going to be another 2 months.
Yes.
Like,
And
you
that-
can't do that.
Yes.
Well, the other thing too is like, or be transparent about your times. Like, hey, if it's 6 months, it's because we're doing the best quality job, or highest whatever,
And here's the thing, like as a business owner who has to produce items, like if I am at a point where I can't get something done in time, I say no, I can't do it. Like I turn the job down. Like these guys are probably taking all the fast passes, all the the walkthroughs, all the the 5-day turnaround, all that. It just keeps pushing all the regular guys back.
And I do the same thing.
That's like what's happening.
Yeah.
Well, or you communicate with your customer and say, hey, at the 4-month mark, hey, it's not. I mean, it's not like it's 5 months and 29 days, and you're finally going to get your book graded. Like I'm sure they know within a month or two, like, hey, it's not going to happen, right?
I think the most frustrating thing for me is the fact that like you ask them and they're like, oh well, turnaround times aren't guaranteed. It's like that doesn't mean anything to me. Like when's my shit going to get done?
Well, you would think, right? I mean, I'm not a smart guy, but you would figure, right? It should have a sophisticated system. You would think with millions of dollars of books.
Well, they do, but like I said, once the new how many tiers do they have? Like they have the 1 day, they have the 3-day, they have 5-day. Like
Right.
They can't predict how much is going to come in, so that stuff has to keep coming in over and over again to keep pushing.
Well, I mean that's a cost of doing business. Then you have those graders who just do 1 day, 3-day, 5-day, and then everybody, and then you're just,
to me, I think it's just greed. They don't want to let any work. They're not going to let any work go.
No, I understand that. I wouldn't let any work go either, but I would have specific graders do 1, 3, and 5. So those things always get that grade, and the rest of production just rolls with other graders. But I mean, that's more overhead. That's more.
Do you guys think? Go ahead, man.
Oh,
No, go ahead. It's a slightly different topic, kind of.
so let's be truthful, Scott. I mean, knowing what you know now, 6 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
would you have turned your books into anyone else?
No, that's
You would have paid the $6 fast pass and moved on.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I was there, they had like the list of the turnaround times, and Fast Pass was like a week sooner. So I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, you talked about it. I remember
Yeah.
we were in line. You were like, I was like, hey, you want a fast track? And we were just looking
I'm like,
at
it doesn't look like it's worth it. It's only like
Yeah.
an extra week or two. I'm like, no, I'm fine.
I think if you're doing CGC on a freaking modern, you pay the fast pass.
Yeah.
Unless you really, really just don't care, and 6 months is fine.
But you have to honestly be ready to take 6 to 8 months.
But I don't think that's on the regular books. I think that's on the pressing.
Yeah, I mean, it was.
No,
books
even
are
regular books take forever for CGC.
They're slow too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as bad though. I mean, I've seen some CGC moderns moving decent. If
Fast
somebody,
pass, though.
Well, wait a
anybody,
second,
anybody on the chat got some fast or some non-fast pass modern times recently
It took 4 weeks for mine.
for fast pass or not?
Non-modern. It was, I mean, non-fast pass. They're
For
all
moderns?
modern. So I had,
Did you say 4 weeks?
yeah, a little over. So maybe it was 5 weeks.
That's
Weeks.
not bad.
Yeah, 5 weeks for non-fast pass and 3 weeks for fast pass.
So, like I said, their moderns minus a press are moving pretty good compared to like 4 years ago. Everything was 6 months.
the thing I hate, and I'm looking at our account right now, is so Scotty did Baltimore in what was it, September of 18, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I look at the invoice date, right, it says 2/7/19 right now, 2/6/19.
Well, that's
It's not
because
bad,
I think they went from pressing into grading.
which is fine, but you should put the retroactive date of.
No, but this is what frustrates me because now I gotta wait in the grading queue.
Yeah, I know. That's
So
what
I
I'm
wait
saying.
6 months for fucking pressing, and then it's like, oh, now I gotta wait for however long it takes for them to grade it.
Which is honestly, I bet you.
So they told me May.
Yeah,
I might
Oh,
get my books back in May.
dude, that's not even right. I mean, you should get them back in actually they should be grading at the beginning of March here theoretically.
They'll be sending them to you and ship you at Baltimore. You can pick them up.
I might be picking them up in Baltimore next year. Who
But you'll
knows?
be the last books out, like
Yeah.
Sean. And
Well,
I remember sitting there at the end of the weekend waiting, thinking, I had a 6 o'clock flight and I might miss this son of a bitch.
I'm just glad, honestly, Scotty. I'm just kind of glad. I mean, they're PC books, right? They're not like you're gonna flip them, right? I mean,
No, they're both.
yeah,
That's why I
but-
got them pressed because I was like, you know what, it's my Jenny Friesen Voltron variant. I don't know, maybe when she signed it, it got like a little crease on it, so I noticed there was a crease. I was like, fuck, I gotta press this. And the other was the Steranko. I didn't realize he was going until last minute, so like I didn't have, I didn't give Sean a chance to press it. So I was like, I'd rather
gotta
get this
press it.
book pressed,
I was going to say earlier, I wonder how long before they bring AI into grading to eliminate some of the human factor where
I bet on moderns they could probably do it. I would think with the older stuff they wouldn't be able to do it because you can't really quantify some of these.
I mean, you could do a high def camera, like you would have a high def camera that just analyzes all the photo, like you know what I'm saying, like.
Yeah,
zip
but
in.
like I said, grading is too subjective. There's no real way to quantify it.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a post that got this whole discussion started. Was a guy who's trying to journey into mystery, CBCS 7.
That was me. I posted that.
Some guy put it somewhere out in the world, and then it came back a restored CGC 7.0.
He
Yeah.
did the
And
crossover.
everybody went into AI. I don't think AI is any better at picking up resto than a human is.
Mhm.
I mean, that is art, not a science.
I'm still not sold on that. That seems fishy to me. That CBCS missed the slight color touch. The guy who owned the book originally missed the color touch. The guy who bought the book and sent it for crossover service missed the color touch.
I did it.
And yet CGC all of a sudden says, "Oh, there's color touch, but we can remove it if you pay us $60."
But wait a second though. I mean, I got caught in that. Me and Paul were there. I had 3 people look at the book.
Yeah, but you didn't send it to CBCS first.
Oh no, I didn't. But I'm just saying, like, I had Sean look at it, but Sean wasn't looking for restoration. I mean, if you didn't think a book was restored, you wouldn't be looking for it, right?
Well, no. If it was a Journey to Mystery, I would.
Well, I mean,
I buy Golden Age more than the rest of you, and I could miss resto in a heartbeat.
You could, but I'm just saying that I don't know.
you're saying that it's coincidental that
I
3 or
feel
4
like
people
I
miss it.
think I know what Ben's saying. CGC
But-
might be
I'm
playing
saying,
the game there.
yeah, I'm saying that they're saying, hey, we can remove this real easily.
It's no problem, buddy. We can take care of it.
Yeah, and for a book that size, no one is going to say no.
But
They're
wait
not gonna say
a
something.
second though. I mean, he could blacklight it too. I mean, because I blacklighted mine in the label, and you can see the color touch. So I mean, if it really is color touch, shine that black light in that case, and you're going to see it. I mean,
We all have bad days, and CBCS could have missed it. I think it's a low probability and happens probably very rare, especially when books in that category. They probably check very well, but we all could have a bad day and just miss something.
Well, it depends too. How did he get graded? Was it a 1 day turnaround book or was it regular sub? I mean, if you're looking at a book for a 1 day turnaround, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't know.
I know what you're saying.
I mean, even with the crossover service with what Z was saying, I've seen some of those emails, and they'll give it the, hey, you know, this CBCS said this is a 9.8. We think it's, you know, we can't guarantee it's a 9.8, but you could get a press and it'll get a 9.8.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. It
sounds like pay to play.
Yeah, it just sounds, the whole thing with them. I mean, basically, they're just with that. It just seems like they're basically just trying to say, "Hey, we're better at this, and so pay us the extra money, and look how bad."
Well, I'm gonna circle this back to Z. Remember, Z, you bought that Spider-Man 1, right? And it came back. I mean, it was tape, right? Wasn't that what it was?
No, the trim must have got it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I had our boy Sean's on the chat, so yo, my man, how are you?
Yo, Sean.
Give Dino a check next time you play.
Oh.
But we looked at it, and I wouldn't have caught it for a million years, so I wouldn't even have thought to look for it. I truthfully didn't. And in my mind, I'm like, there's no way this is resto because it's ugly. But, you know, somebody could have trimmed the damn thing at some point. And, you know, we looked at it and said, all right, I'll buy it. It is what it is.
I've seen CGC waver on things, too, where I saw one book had tape on it. It had tape on it that they said was a blue label, and then another label had it as restored.
No, I've tape is resto.
Yeah.
Tape should never be resto.
But they did it.
I've seen some pop staples on blue labels.
You can do that.
No, high grade, like 8.5 with a pop staple. One of them, like the Miss Marvel one.
My understanding, and trust me, I played this game early on. I found it out. I read a CGC thread on it because everybody will grade Overstreet. A pop centerfold will top out at a 4 or 5 in Overstreet.
3.5 to 4, yeah.
But I read somewhere that CGC will not count a popped single centerfold staple nearly as high. And I have personally graded a Silver Age up to a 7.5.
Wow.
And
but I think it's fair because the book was beautiful.
And let's go. I want to go back to this CBCS CGC thing. And for people who don't know, and let's get a little history. CBCS was started by Steve Borish and Barack, sorry. And he was the CGC head grader, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, like Ben said, the head. I don't know if he's looking at every book, right, Ben? We don't know that, obviously.
No,
he's not looking at any books.
I theoretically, yeah, but I mean,
he's not. There's no way.
He looks at the high end stuff. He's the final grader on the high end stuff.
But would you think that Jim 83 is a high end book then?
Yeah.
Then he would look at it, right?
He may not be checking for resto. There are usually 3 people. Somebody pre-grades, somebody checks for the resto, somebody post-grades.
He also started that business with the sales pitch of standard grading with 10-day turnaround time no matter what, and that lasted like 3 weeks until they ran into like a plastic issue, and it's never been back.
Another thing that they were promising was like you could see on their site where your book was in the process, and you could always follow that. And for like 5 years now, they've been saying that they're transferring their server or something, so that's why they don't have that.
Well, let's not bring up the whole census thing for CBCS either. I mean,
I'm okay with that. They don't have enough data that it matters.
Well, and to be fair, CGC census is ridiculous. I mean, honestly, they're inputting. I mean, you're looking at thousands of books a day, and yet you're sending them out, and you've got serial numbers, you've got grades attached to them. How difficult when you're inputting that it doesn't automatically populate the census? That makes it
scan a barcode.
I don't
understand that.
I hear people complaining about the census and updates. I've put some rare books up there, and they're pretty fast most of the time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe every freaking Spider-Man 300 that goes up there is slow, but I have put some rare books through the census.
But why would it not be instantaneous?
Pop up pretty fast.
I mean, it should be instantaneous.
Because that makes too much sense, Ben.
I mean, it's not a. I mean, any average Joe computer programmer can program that into your system. I mean, that's
it
nothing.
gets put into a database because when you search by the serial number, it gives you all the information. So
It just
why aren't those databases linked?
Yeah.
Blue green artifacts.
The census database is probably 10 years old, guys.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the grading databases too.
They probably
And-
don't care to update it.
And they've not brought the guy to talk to this guy and that guy to do this.
Yeah. It's probably cheaper to hire two different programmers. Blue green artifact says when is CBSI grading service starting?
No, never.
Well,
There's too
never.
many.
Yeah.
Definitely
Actually-
too many issues with that.
And probably insurance is probably the bigger
Insurance,
thing, right?
yeah.
Because you gotta have your crap ton of
Liability
insurance.
and all that
Yeah.
shit. You got to insure everything that comes in.
You gotta have a safe that's like Fort Knox, et cetera, et cetera.
So we had another question on here. Why is it moderns less than 9.8 bad? What do you guys think about that? Moderns at
Well,
9.8.
that's kind of a difficult one. Not to say, I guess, is it regular moderns? Because there's rare variants out there. Like if I get an ASM 667 at a 9.6, that's not okay.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, there's obviously always a few exceptions to the rules, but I think it's pretty safe to say that if it's not a 9.8 modern,
Yeah.
I will parallel this with sports cards. When I started grading sports cards back in the late 90s, so over 20 years ago, there weren't very many cards that were graded at that point. They were all PSA, and so you could get a lot of the better current rookie cards or something like that. And if they were PSA 9s, that was good. But just once the sheer volume of all those 9s and stuff came out, and then the 10s were available, then it basically became. I mean, because honestly, I was grading at that time. I was grading, just average cards because the grading costs on those you could get sometimes if you sent 100 cards in at a time, you could get them for like $4 a card. So you could turn around, you could get PSA 9s or 10s on some of these, people just like that player or something like that, and you could get $8 to $10 for. You could double your money easily on a card that was basically a quarter card. You could double your money just on the grading fees. But once all those went, everybody had those, then it basically you had to get a 10, or it just basically was not worth grading at all. And I think that's where a lot of unless it is something rare like what you're kind of talking about, some kind of Campbell Black Cat or something, whatever it is,
Saga RRP or something.
Yeah, right. Then it's probably less. You're going to get a super premium for that 9.8, but the 9.6s and 9.4s at that point are still desirable. But for just all these other books, I don't think is desirable. You could go anywhere and get them.
You've got what, probably at least 20 different companies doing the Slab Heroes, who I've used. I like them, but you want a modern 9.8, they're going to guarantee you a 9.8 for $50.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah,
I mean, CBSI had a process you were working on that did it at the time. And no offense, if somebody knows in advance and is getting 50 of them 9.8, there's 5 or 6 guys doing it. There's a plethora of them to be had.
Yep.
It is almost impossible for those to go up once there's 250 in the census day 10.
Yeah, I think for that kind of stuff, it's more PC. I think the only time it really, if it's like a book like Monstrous or like God Country, those are the ones that seem to like have the 9.8s have shot up enough to be worth it. But most of them tend to hover around, $30 to $50.
But do you think because it's so hard to get a 9.8 in that book because of the dark covers? You think though?
It's that. I mean, I think they kind of went into speculation zone instead of just 9.8 zone.
Yeah, and also nobody was specking on Monsters before it came out.
Yeah, no. I mean,
not every. Yeah, I'd say nobody.
But not enough. Not like the B covers and
no.
Like I bought one of those Iron Man 8s with the whiskey glass.
You bought one of them?
Yeah, I bought a 9.8 though.
Didn't you buy like a?
I paid for some Raws.
Got some Raws.
But I mean, like I said, I love the cover, but we knew in advance that was coming. Monstrous. People look at it and go, "Oh, some people graded it." Probably there's a couple hundred copies. But if people had known the story it was, and were just doing it based on cover art, there'd been 5 times as many graded day one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of disagree there because I think as soon as that second print went out, speculators were on it, and that second print was instantly a $25 raw book.
Yeah.
Kind of grading early on Monstrous, but it's grown. It's grown even more than which you'll probably see that same trend with dye right now,
Yeah.
where it's still relatively new, but people are starting to pick up on it now and starting to spec on dye more. So I think it's similarity with Monstrous and dye.
I think it's
We'll see.
really, really hard to make money on a new 9, even a 9.8, let alone a not 9.8, on something just for cover art. You've got to have something in the story that nobody was expecting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think those DCB covers are moving in 9/8. Like there obviously there are a few exceptions. You know, the Batgirl 23 Middleton, that one seemed to be like a 9/8 really boosted that value.
Yeah.
But
I don't think not now, but I think some of those B covers are decent long-term holds.
I have boxes. I have 2 boxes full of them.
I think people are buying those just for their PCs, but they don't necessarily have to have a 9.8. So they're okay. They're okay to spend $10 or $15 on a B, but they're not okay to spend 50 or 60 on it.
Right.
So I think that's where I think they're good PC books, but that's really where that $15, $20 range is probably the cap on those.
Well,
is my thought.
There's this whole other subgenre of collecting that is almost the show-off value.
Yeah.
You know, guys building their walls of comics and they want the 9.8. They want everything to match. They want them to all
it's
be
definitely a
CGI,
trophy piece. Yeah.
You know, I am not generally that guy. I mean, I like to show mine off. I'll take a picture and put them on Instagram. I'll show them in the groups, but I don't put them on the wall. I like having them in a box and moving on, and you know, whatever. I don't have anybody over. I don't have a display case, but there is a whole group of people that, regardless of what it is, whether it's last week's book or a 20-year-old book, they want that display wall and they want to look a certain way. They want it to be a certain thing. So that's a whole nother piece of this puzzle. How much you going to pay to have that piece you want to look the way you want, not to be the 9.6? How many times are you going to ship a book from Mexico to Canada and back for it not to be a CBCS, to be a CGC?
Don't tempt me.
What's the funniest thing is I did send a Lost 23 in to be crossover, Paul, so I give you hope.
I still want one of the Italian ones in 9.8.
I know. I mean, I had a few of those, and I never got one near a 9.8.
No,
They were just,
I don't think it's possible. The way they handle their books, let alone the shipping, is.
To me, it's like that the ASM 300 Italian. I mean, I hear a rumor of a 9.4, 9.6 that got found, but till it gets graded, I don't believe it. And like, just there's certain books that are just, they're thick, they're heavy. You know, covers, they can't be pressed. There's books
giant size X-Men 1, the square bound. We all know the square bound issues. I mean,
that can get pressed though.
Yeah, it can get pressed, but I mean,
I will never grade a giant size X-Men 1 again in my head because I habitually undergrade them.
Dude, I did the same thing. I thought mine was going to be like an 8.0. It came back at 9.2.
I sold one to. No, I razzed one that TJ won. I showed it to Sean. I showed it to Trey. I showed it to a couple other guys, and everybody's like, "Yeah, it's a 6-ish." I thought it was a 6-ish. TJ got it, looked at it, thought it was a 6-ish. He sold it, and his buddy graded it. I think it was a freaking 9.
Yeah, it's weird. They, you know what it is? It's because of that square bound. It's so sloppy looking that I think you can get away with a lot of shit on that spine.
God,
why would on a book like that though? And maybe it's just me, but why would you not grade it, even if it was a 6? Why not just go ahead and send it in? Why would you sell it raw?
Because the premium for grade versus raw was not significant.
If it goes up 3 grades, it does.
Well, yeah, if my assumption of it being a 6 and a 6, raw versus graded, it was $100, $150 difference. And
yeah, I mean, so $150 difference, and it costs you for that grade, you probably have to use a different service, and it might cost you what, $60 to grade it.
You also,
Okay, so-
you also have to take in time. At the time, I needed
Shipping.
that money. I needed that money for something else.
Yeah, and I get that. I'm just, I mean, even before you, I mean, you bought it from somewhere. I guess I'm just
I
confused.
bought it in a collection.
I mean, why are again? I come from the card market that that has grading that's 20, 25 years into it, and comics are obviously not that far into it. They're what 15, 20 years maybe at this point, 18 years.
This you're leading to an interesting question. I like it.
I mean, and somebody was asking because somebody asked me about something about I think it was Josue or something was asking about he was wanting to buy some cards, and he was wanting to buy some vintage cards, but he wanted to buy them raw and then get them graded. And I was kind of just said, hey, anymore if it's a key rookie, if it's raw, you got a bad chance that it's trimmed or
Counterfeit.
or something, that there's just too many. Basically any card that's worth its value is already graded. It's already slabbed up. And I get that there's still some some of the old folks that are like, oh, I like the feel of the comic book, and that's great. And if you like that, fine. But I just don't. I mean, when you're talking about spending thousands and thousands of dollars to spend an extra $50 to increase that value, another extra 10, 15, 20%.
Not only that, preserve it too.
Even if it's the exact grade that you think it is. If you think it's exactly a 7 and you send it in to get it graded and a 7 brings an extra $200, why not grade it? I mean, that's
So
unless you're going to sit there and read it.
I'm going to tell you my philosophy on this. I don't grade mid-grade, average, silver, minor to mid keys. I got a ton of them in the collection that I bought. We're talking Thor 165, Fantastic Four 65. Those kind of like mid-level books. Not a mega key. A mega key you grade. Whatever. I just, in my opinion, for me to take a book that's a 4, a 4.5, a 5, and grade it, and I get, goes from 250 to 280, 300. To me, it's not worth that price to do it. It just, there isn't that spread there. There are more people that are going to overpay for that book and hope to press it and grade it than there are for me to send it in and get the grade I think I'm going to get and go. Yeah, I lost my ass on that one particular book, but sometimes there's this market, especially in those mid grades. It's like, I want to press and grade and get that grade. And if I can provide them that book that they think they're going to get that value at, and it looks nice enough and it has a couple pressable defects, I will let them take that risk for $50. And I will take my $50 less and walk away.
Do you ever get in issues with, especially on the mid grades, with people questioning what you're grading it at?
I very rarely provide a grade on eBay. That is just a lesson I've learned. You can hate me, you can not. I will give you 12 good. Whatever, dude. I will give you 12 good. You know how many people will argue on a mid-grade freaking book what their opinion is? And
Never had that issue.
It could be somebody that 100 freaking books a week, or somebody that's never graded.
You know who it is? I'll tell you who. It's always the guy that buys the $5 book. Complains about the grading. That's the one.
And you know what? I just don't do it. I don't play the game. I know what I think it is, and I price it to where I think it is, and I move on. But you know what? If it's a modern, I'll grade a modern, and I don't care. But on calling something a 5, calling something a 6, to me, that's not going to change who's going to buy my book. I will every angle, and I will give you an accurate description. I will tell you about the staples and let you make that call. And either you're going to buy that book and be uneducated and be happy with it, or you're going to be educated, know what it looks like and what it is, and be happy with it. I would rather you make that decision than me call it a fine and then get a eBay request for return because it was a fine minus. I don't play the game. I don't care.
I mean, we play the game, but I always tend to grade a little bit. Like if I think it's a 9.4, I might say it's a 9.2. And haven't had one return.
I used to grade them, and I tell you what, it's the 1 out of 100 where somebody pisses and moans and it's not worth my trouble.
I feel like that person's going to complain no matter what.
They are, but then I spend the extra time putting the grade on there. It's not worth my headache. I count
Fair
4
enough.
ticks, they count 5, and they want to argue it. It's just my philosophy.
So then what do you do, Z? Because I'm going through that right now where, I'm putting more and more stuff on the store to try and, get this rolling. And I kind of taken the stance that you are of, just putting up good picks and then just trying not to put a grade. If unless it's like super, super nice, I'll put, high grade, but I don't want to put like a near mint, very fine, a 9.6 or whatever. How do you get around that? Do you just say, pictures are there? If you have any questions, contact me.
Here's my thing is, if I'm selling on eBay, they can return up no matter what.
Mhm.
I think they're less likely to return that they have made their own decision on the book and are happy with it.
Here's my thing.
Versus me telling them it's near mint, they in their head thinking it's near mint is 9.8, them sending in for grading and not getting that 9.8 and yelling at me.
How about this one?
You think you bought?
How about this one? Scotty might agree with me. Would you buy somebody from eBay who doesn't grade?
I tend to skip
'Cause I
over
won't.
people who don't grade because it's hard to see, all the details. Like I think at least when you provide a grade, it gives a baseline. Like, if you say it's a very fine, then all right, then it shouldn't be 6.0 or lower. It shouldn't have major damage to it. So I think I don't know. To me, I think some people hide behind, I'm not a professional grader. You make up your mind. I don't know.
Listen, I put those statements in my thing, but I will list every defect.
Mm-hmm.
I will take a picture of them all, and you make that call. I'm not giving you a front and a back pick and saying I don't grade. I'm not giving you a fuzzy pick in a bag.
Mm-hmm. You're not hiding anything. Yeah, no, I don't believe that at all. But like I said, it just, to me, I don't know. I like, because you can't tell. You really can't tell from a scan what grade a book is.
Okay, that's why I don't like scans. I've told you this. My opinion. I think scans, I would rather have the picks because I can then take the angles and things in the light and show what I want to show.
Yeah, but when you're doing 100 books,
no, but I had more returns when I scanned than I didn't. But again, as a buyer, does it matter?
So
Yeah,
do you prefer graded or raw books for your collection?
Well, no, but I mean, as a buyer,
Mhm.
does it matter if you buy it and want to return it? It doesn't matter if I put a grade on it or I didn't. You can just say it's not the book I was promised and return it. Me putting that grade on there does not affect you as the buyer 1%.
Brian, what I do, not that I'm the guy you should take advice from,
Z needs a better scanner.
but I put just my best guess grade on there, and then I put 8.5 or better in my opinion as pictured.
I'm going to tell Scotty to put not 9.8 in all our listings. Like everybody.
I'll tell you what. That's one thing. Don't ever, if you're going to put grades, don't ever list anything as near as 9.8. Don't.
Well, not even that. Don't
you're asking. That's asking for it.
Or don't put it in the description. Not 9.8.
Yeah, so it shows up in 9.8 searches.
Oh God, it's terrible.
I hate that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my thing is, 90% of eBay can't grade anyway. So what's the point of them putting a grade? I'd rather look at it. But truthfully, when I see a grade, I rarely look. If I don't see a grade, that's when I start getting interested.
I mean, I guess we took it as our own, and when we started our little thing to.
But you grade on your site too, though.
Yeah, we grade on everywhere, dude. We put it on our site. We
grade on every book.
We grade on every book. I mean, we don't pat ourselves on the back, but Scott and Sean.
But let me say this though: your boy Sean, prior to joining your group, did not grade either, and we all know he could grade pretty damn spot on. He just chose it made more sense not to.
I guess.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like it works for us.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it doesn't. I'm just saying me looking as a buyer, as an educated buyer, makes no difference. Now, yes.
I grade A through F.
you might get more sales to new buyers, new not, but I think you're going to have more problems with the new buyers and folks that aren't familiar with grading.
Well, I mean, and Brad kind of talked about it, like having a high end scanner. I wouldn't say you don't need a $20,000 scanner. I mean, I got let's see right here. I mean, for mine, I got the big boy because I do scat slabs, but I do the ScanJet 8200. But I mean, I do that with ViewScan and as my software, and then I can tweak it in where I want to tweak it into. I mean,
but what the scanner never shows is the non-color breaking stuff very well.
That's true.
See, but that's where the grade comes in.
Yeah.
No,
So you tell them if they look at the scan, they're like, oh my God, that looks like a fucking 9.8. But you tell them it's a 9.2, then to me, in my opinion, this is what happens. All right, it's a 9.2, then all right, then there's color breaking ticks on there. I just can't see them.
Well, like I said, I don't think it matters. I truly don't. You're going to get the same amount of. No, I take that back. The reason I do it, there's a very specific reason I do it.
You got screwed once.
No, I think it filters out the uneducated buyers. So I may lose some sales, but I'm not selling to that guy that I've read 3 stories this week from Drew. Just sent one. He sold the book at an auction, said it was near mint and got it returned because it didn't grade a 9.8. 99-cent auction. Near mint was the grade he put on it, not 9.8. Didn't get a 9.8. He got a return. Because
but that person's gonna return it no matter what.
Some uneducated buyer bought his book. You put a quality picture up and you don't put a grade on it, it filters out a certain percentage of the dumb shits.
I don't think it filters out anything. I think there's that person would still buy it off of you and do the same thing like that. Those people are just friggin' morons. They're scammers. They want to take all the risk out of the the grading process.
They do. I just listen. It's just personal preference. I just don't value it worth my time to grade it, to put it down there, and I do think it takes out some of the yahoos.
So kind of get back on track here. What do you guys prefer for your PC, graded or raw?
Graded.
Yeah, I'm the same, graded.
I like to have something that is somewhat protected from the elements or something, and that I can display.
Yeah.
I like to display I don't want them sitting in a long box in a closet, and they display so much nicer graded.
Yeah, they do. All my art germs are all ungraded. But I would prefer, if I'm buying a key for myself, I want it graded. I want the knowledge that 10 years from now, it's still going to be that same grade. It's not going to, all of a sudden, when I do send it in, it's going to magically come back restored or something crazy. I want the assurance that it's not.
Ben's an art germ blasphemer.
Oh, hey, people, Rags is saying we got that neutral on that mid grade.
Yeah. Well, no, that guy only gave us neutral because he was pissed off that we didn't ship it in a priority mailbox.
Yeah.
He wasn't pissed about the grade. He wasn't pissed that the book arrived damaged. No, he thought we should have spent $15 to ship it.
I mean, do we even have a neg? Do we have a negative?
No.
Yeah. So I mean, we've done how many transactions, Scotty? Tons. I don't even know.
Our feedback's like 1,300, but I mean, we've done way more transactions than that.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's perfect. It's like everything else in the world, right?
Look, you're gonna get shipped dirt bags and stuff like that. It's gonna happen. I mean, I don't think whether you put a grade on there or not, it's not gonna make a difference.
No, that's my point. It adds no buyer protection, adds nothing. It's a seller preference. I am approaching 1,500 feedback. I rarely list grades except when I know it's like a near mint plus, and I will do it, which usually I just will sell. In 8 years, I've had 2 negative feedbacks, and it's usually over a $5 fucking book.
Yep, it's always the $5 books. So, it's always the ones that it's those people that have high expectations.
Everybody's saying, Sean, we were going to say, dude, I'm going to buy something off you guys and give you a neutral. Do it. I'll take your money.
I'll take your money. I don't care.
I will go back to the do you PC grade your books. I'm half and half, but I tend to grade my good PC books sometimes because your PC changes. Like all of a sudden you get an opportunity to get something else that is higher up on your list. I want that next couple books to be liquid, that if I need to make a fast move, I can.
Well, I mean, one thing we didn't talk about here is that it's definitely easier to sell a graded book versus a raw.
Yeah, big time.
You know,
Especially if it's signed.
Yeah, I just think, well, it's also easier to come up with a price. I mean, you got like GPA and eBay sold listings. It's very easy to actually come up with a value for it. And, you know, there's already a market value for it.
Well, and that's kind of why some people are always like, you know, slabs don't sell at shows, and that's because those slabs have a definitive price, and so you can be. It's real easy to just say, well, I'm not dropping 30% off of that book when I can make that back easily instantly on eBay. Raws you have that a lot more leeway because you don't know what you're going to get. It could vary widely, you know, on eBay. So I think that's why slabs don't sell at shows, because everybody's going to shows looking for that great deal, and you're generally not going to get that on a slab because that price is so set in stone.
I want to know when they're going to start grading omnibuses.
They would probably have to go like into like AFA casing for that.
Yeah.
Like, actual like box.
I guess since we're
pretty cool though.
I guess we're talking about grading. I want to say this. This is the Bible, at least for me. So a lot of people don't have one of these who grade books, and basically it's just Overstreet's Guide to Grading. And
yeah, those are very important. They're a little bit different than CGC, but it's definitely a good guide.
It's a good guide. I mean, it gives you pictures and stuff like that.
I honestly recommend everybody to read that because it really does.
So it gives you like breakdowns.
It really does do a very good job of explaining how much damage, you know.
And then basically gives you like a good description on the other end. And this is just books. So I mean, I just wanted to show this to people in case they've never seen it or stuff like that. I mean, and it gives you the multitude of ranges here, like 3.5, 3s, 1.0s. I mean, 1.5.
It gives you a lot of picture references.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the good thing. Like I might not know everything on every grade, but at least I know picture wise. Like I can look at a 4.0 and a difference between a 9.8. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now 9.8, 9.6 might be a little, you know, a little wishy-washy, but so.
I'm trying to find it. There was a YouTube series that
I know who you're talking about.
The absolutely best CGC grading. It was a guy that submitted thousands of
books. Yeah, he broke it all down, every grade, like what you can.
And he's the guy that told me about the staple thing, and he would tell you
Edie?
the stain size and all these things.
So yeah.
What's the guy's name?
Greg,
yeah,
Edie.
A space Nick.
Yeah.
He calls it comic grading, comic grading tutorial, and then he'll call it lessons. But Etta Nick,
it's a lot of videos and a lot of minutes, but it is very informative.
It is the closest real live CGC grading you'll find. I mean, the Overstreet book gets you really close, but his will tell you kind of like those.
He basically is like a CGC insider. He knows what they're going to do. Like not necessarily, all right, normally this book would grade like this out there, but CGC would give it this.
Yeah, what's
Can you send that link in the chat and then I can put it out on the YouTube chat?
Like he would go through like crease sizes. All right, if you have a 1-inch crease, you would get this grade. If you have a 2-inch crease, you get this grade. If you have a 3, like and he basically showed you because he had graded books. Like he would say, all right, here's a 7.0. Here's a 6.0, here's a 5.0. And like you could literally just see the progression in the grades because he just did so much grading. Like he had so much data to himself, basically.
Here,
I got the YouTube link. I'm sorry. I'm good.
I mean, that is probably the best thing I've ever watched as far as CGC, just because he basically mapped it out through his own submissions. Like, yeah, we can all get the basics. It's those. What does CGC do when it's not mentioned in Overstreet, or what happens when it looks like this but it isn't that?
And he's still submitting content too. It's not like he was 5 years ago, and he's still submitting content about everything. Maybe we can get him on a podcast. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Tell you what, if you want to learn to grade books, that's probably the best couple hours you'll spend learning.
Yeah, I agree. Between that and the Overstreet guide, you could become an expert in grading in a couple months just by going through it.
Before I bail, I'll give you guys a little Paul's problem. So there's a UTMC, University of Toledo Medical Centers, where we have a once a year educational event, and it's at a place called the Lloyd Jacobs Interprofessional Immersive Simulation Center. And so they have like hospital beds and all sorts of crazy stuff. But so anyway, we met met the people who work there, and we were touring for like an hour and letting them know what we need and what we're going to be doing there and expectations, just so it went smooth. And so at the end of the day, we're at the table just going over stuff, and I look at this guy, and I kept calling him Lloyd, because on his scrubs it said Lloyd Jacobs Simulation Center. So I thought his name was Lloyd, and he gave me this look.
Jesus, Paul.
He's like, my name's Jeff. I was like, you fucking kidding me?
That's definitely something you would do.
Sorry, Jeff. I remember in Indy, my first time in Indy, I called Tony Scott for like the first day and a half. I couldn't stop myself. I've never seen you guys before. I just couldn't help myself. But don't always trust the name tag, because it could be the name of the place, not the name of the person.
Call him Lloyd, like Ninjago.
Right.
Lloyd. Yeah.
Lloyd.
So did you guys see that CGC's doing the new Marvel labels?
Yeah, it looks sweet.
I haven't seen what the label looks like, but it's just like that Walking Dead one they did, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, one is gonna be similar to like the Stan Lee ones, right? But they're gonna be like character based.
Does it add any value, or is it just more for like, I guess, display value?
I think display value.
Yeah.
Well, I think there's a niche of people. Again, the people that want their wall to be a certain way. You display people, the people that I want all Marvel labels. I got all Marvel Age Super Keys. There'll be a certain percentage that resubs.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask if there's gonna be a lot of. Now, I guess, would that just be a reholder?
Yeah, probably. But I mean, I bet on some of those books, is it reholder universal fee, or is it a percentage base?
I think it's just a flat fee.
Yeah, I think it's a flat fee.
You can send in a Gym 83 and pay the same $12.
I'll double check right now. Let me log in.
That might be the impetus to go from the old case to the new one. Getting that new label.
Yeah, Rag said they're gonna premiere it at C2E2. I may have to actually take up a few books just to get
Try
them
it
in.
out.
Yeah, just to get them with that label.
Wait. So it's $15 per book reholder, under 10,000. Otherwise, it's $35. Fair market value.
The issue is you got to resend them in and send them to the mail and all that bullshit.
And I sent that guy a message on Instagram, so maybe we'll see. That ETA Nick guy.
Okay.
So maybe.
But like I said, I don't know. I bet for certain people it's cool, but I don't think it's the guys with Gym 83s and AF15s doing it. It's the guys with more modern books that want to look.
Venom 1 in 1,000
Venom collectors, yes, Spider-Man collectors. There's probably going to be a lot of ASM 300s resub that way. Maybe not 9.8s. I think it's more of a niche market, because I mean, there's guys on YouTube, Instagram, wherever that love showing off their collection, be it an expensive collection, a mid-grade collection, or a cheap collection, but they love it to look like it looks. That's part of our hobby.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is what it is. We're not all 9.8 snobs. I mean, some of us have turned to do it, unfortunately. And
yeah, I'm kind of a snob.
Yeah, I am too, and I hate it.
I am too.
I swore to God 5 years ago I wouldn't be.
But yeah, that's the thing. It's like it depends how far you've been in a hobby and what you're like, what you're doing. I mean, if I look at books now and I just put them down. I mean, it's between 9.8s and I can't get them cheap enough, and not because I don't want to pay and I'm a cheap guy. It's just like, but what me and Scotty do in our business, I mean, we can't pay market value for things,
Nope.
So, I mean,
Speaking of market value, have you guys seen these Jordan sales this week?
Yeah.
Big boy books, or big boy cards, boys.
Now
So that's
I put 3 up in our outline here. The third place one was for 27,000. Second place was for 35, and in the first place, I don't even know, $350,000.
well. The
Standard.
reason why that $350,000 card is so amazing is a lot of people, unless you're big into the card world, don't realize what Jordan inserts go for. There's certain Jordan inserts, that were, just like kind of like variants, the same thing that's what inserts are. You get like, an average of a couple per box or something like that. And with those Fleer metal, they would do, like, it was kind of like before the refractor era or the different color refractor era. And
so
they
it's a parallel, right?
yeah. So
Okay.
the first 10 cards that they printed of each player came in that either the emerald green parallel. Is that right, Ben? Do you remember that? And then like the next 20 are red parallels. So if you get, depending on the color you get, that's one of the first so many cards printed. So there's only 10 of them out there. And that emerald green Jordan is kind of like a holy grail for a lot of people.
I just realized it's not even graded. It's just authentic.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's altered.
Yeah.
And that's what shocked me about the sale. And I think if you look at the bids, I think in the last 5 minutes it went up like 150 grand. I mean, obviously somebody with just money to burn just wanted it, because I think I'm pretty sure, even though that there is supposedly 10 of those, I don't think that there have actually ever been confirmed that even 10 of those exist. I think
people are still pulling. I saw one maybe 2 years ago where a guy pulled one out of a box.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but the fact that one was somehow altered, and it doesn't say exactly how it was altered. I don't know if it was trimmed or what. But just the fact that it is not original and still sold for $350 was a little shocking to me. I'm not saying that it's not, ultra rare, but the fact that it was not, packed fresh or, even like
it's not in good condition either. I mean, you can see the edges.
I mean, if it's a comic, I mean, yeah, you get an AF-15, but do you want, are you going to spend, if it says it's a 9.8, great, but if it's restored, I mean, do you really want it? I mean, I don't know.
What are you paying to get that graded? What do you think the cost is to get it graded?
I think they do like CGC does. Once it gets over a certain dollar amount, it's a percent. Now, granted, they wouldn't know the value of that because there's never been like an actual sale of it, or documented sale of it. So I'm not sure how they would come up with a value on something like that. My guess is they probably negotiated a price to grade it. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the comic thing with variants. People were like, well, gosh, if you're gonna spend $350,000 on a card, why wouldn't you just buy 5 PSA 10s of his rookie? I mean, or something, like that. I mean, it doesn't. But the fact is nobody else has that, and it's a very.
Well, I just noticed the common trend between all 3 of them. They were sold by the same company.
Yeah, a lot of those
PWCC. So I mean, they do a lot. So I think they get a little bit higher than what most people would normally get.
The same thing with Probstein.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like Heritage and Comic Link can get premiums that other people can't, and I don't really know why. Because it's still in the same slab, whether I'm selling it or
eyes.
I think they just they got more eyes. They got followers.
And the same thing kind of happened with that Brady Contenders card, or it was either early in the year or last year, when a Beckett 9, there's only 100 of those, and a Beckett 9 sold on a Probstein auction for I think $375 or something like that. But then one just sold last week for $275, like $275,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, so you're talking, $100,000 difference, just because one basically kind of got a premium, So when people say that, this is a $350,000 card, I don't know. I mean, if it was authentic and it was actually, like a PSA 9 that was not altered, I don't know what the price on that would be.
Well, I mean, you got the same thing in comics. I mean, Heritage, Comic Link, they don't show up on GPA and they break premiums all the time. Even sellers on eBay, some of those big boys that are auctioning off several hundred books a week and have 10,000, 100,000 sales are going to do better than the guy with 10 auctions a week.
And I guess it's just probably just people that follow those specific people. Maybe there's just more eyes on it or something.
I think that's what it is. They have followers. I think it's a lot like my comic shop. They're just so much more traffic going to them. They're probably at top. When you search for a card, they're at the top of every search.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anything with like Instagram followers, right? I mean, there's guys who can sell Instagram books for 25% over eBay because they have 7,000 followers, like Torpedo Comics, right? I mean, Torpedo Comics can name their price, and
yeah, I guess I can see it on rare things that don't really pop up. It just with books that are kind of, I wouldn't say common, but you can find them everywhere. I don't know why you would pay more just because it's on one guy's auction as opposed to another guy. That doesn't help.
So they're less likely to mislist something. They're less likely to screw up and say it's something else. They're also they have 100 auctions, 1,000 auctions ending that same night. People are looking through all their stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys ever get a chance, it's just something kind of interesting to see how rabid these Jordan collectors are. Just do a search in eBay for Jordan inserts and look at some of the prices on some of those cards. And some of those inserts, back in the day, they weren't really hot, but because, I think over the last, maybe like 10, 15 years ago, all of a sudden Jordan inserts, just went through the roof because, during that time, a lot of those basketball card sets weren't worth jack. So people just, didn't think much about holding on to some of those inserts. Especially like the stuff that only would come in rack packs, like Fleer All-Stars or Fleer Total D. They would only come in, rack packs or cello packs in grocery stores and some of the rarities, whether they're just perceived as being rare or they really are rare, those inserts go for really, really high dollar. And you can still pull them out of boxes. So.
Yeah, which is scary.
Yeah. It'd be nice to walk into a flea market and see, some of those old 90s era basketball card boxes, like the I told you guys about the Scoring Kings one that I've been looking for, and those only come in those Fleer Ultra Series 1 cello packs, I believe. Might be just the hobby boxes and the cello packs. But it'd be nice to walk into a flea market and see some of those unopened boxes because that era cards were really in the dumps. You couldn't give away some of those sets, but now all of a sudden, hey, if you could pull, maybe there's a chance, 1 in 200 chance that you're going to pull a Jordan insert. People are looking for them.
Oh yeah.
A list of the hot boxes. I wish I could do that. So.
Yeah, it made me think that when I saw that $350,000 sale, I was trying to think what comics could actually bring that kind of cash.
There's probably only a couple that really could do it.
It's a short list. I mean, because even I've seen some of the cream of the crop pre-code horror in high grade not hit anywhere near that. It's Action Ones, super high grade AF-15s, some of the rare bats, even like
what about All-Star 8?
All-Star 8, a few grades cross that, not many.
High grade.
You got to hit the top end.
Yeah.
Well, and that card is from '96.
I don't think.
So,
I don't think any true Marvel books like Silver Age, besides AF-15 You might get a couple of the timelies hitting there. I mean, not to say none, but it's not a lot, and it's the uber high grade stuff. You almost have to go to the original art.
Okay, so let me
better compared to original art.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this, and so that Jordan, obviously Jordan, greatest of all time basketball. There's only supposedly 10 of these in existence. Maybe there may not even be that many. We're not even sure. Think of like the most iconic modern covers, either Tech 880.
Delato variant. That's
Yeah.
667.
Or even a 678 book.
All right, so take those, and let's say they made a print run of only 10. I mean, an actual print run of only 10 of those, and it became this kind of mythical, holy grail. Is it possible? I mean, we see what the 667s can actually bring, where a 9.4 gets 13 grand.
What do we think? There's maybe 1,000 of them out there, probably.
I mean, I would.
I think there's less.
Yeah, I think there's probably less than. I would think there's probably less than 400 of those,
and they're only available in 5 and below packs.
But I mean, if the comic publishers could kind of invent something like that and kind of make something that ridiculously rare. I mean, is it possible that you could get 50 grand out of a modern? I mean, because it's happening in the sports card market that you're getting $250,000, for an iconic player that's, some kind of ridiculously rare card. You put a cover on some top of the line artist with a top of the line character and make it so rare that it just doesn't even seem to be real.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But let me ask you this. Do you see stores doing an exclusive Michael Jordan card that looks just like, but is like a virgin variant of that 1 in 10 card? Because that's what they would do with that 1 in 10 comic.
I mean, in reality, even that's pretty much what a refractor is. Yeah. I mean, it's basically the exact same card, just that's shiny. I mean, it's really the only difference.
And for the record, there's only 36 on the census right now, that Delato variant.
Oh, yeah, I think 400 is too high. I bet they 100, 200.
And it's possible. I mean, it could be really low, but when you're talking about 10 compared to 100, I mean, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
When you're talking about the nosebleed section of rarity.
Well, I think the other thing with cards, though, is you hit this on the nail on the head a couple weeks ago, is that totally random. So some Joe off the street spends $100 and hits the right box.
Yeah,
he can name it price to the guy that's rich. Whereas comics, the rich, some guy figures out what it's going to cost to do it, and he's like, "Well, it's a 1 in 10,000. I got to buy 10,000 copies at $1.50 a pop for my seller to buy it. That's my price. That's my buying price."
Right. I don't know. It's an interesting concept that. Again, I think the comic publishers are going to have to address over the next 5 years that they're going to have to make this different than what it is today.
I think they're going to have
more buy a lot more comics blind bagged.
Yeah,
blind bag but protected. That would be the key.
And they'll have to number them. You know what I mean? I really think that's a key.
The stamping of the serial number on that would be perfect.
Yeah.
There's 200 of these, and you stamp it 1 through 200. Like,
yeah,
I think that would really set them apart.
No freebies given out. I mean, they don't do that in cards. I mean, most of these, even the autograph cards, most of the people who are autographing them don't even have a copy. They don't get any.
Yep.
I mean, they just don't get any. So, you're gonna have to cut out this. Oh, we're gonna give you a comp copy. Well, you can give them a comp copy of the cover only or something like that, but not the full product.
Or put comp copy all across it, so like,
right,
it's not confused for a regular one.
Right. I think they're gonna have to, and I think they're gonna need that added. I mean, honestly, that's what's sustaining the card market is these astronomical. I mean, basically hitting the lottery is what I mean.
That's the fun part about cards for me is when you open up a box and you hit something, you're like, oh man, that's really friggin' cool. Like,
yeah, I mean, think of the guy that I mean that could possibly open that $100 box and get $250,000 and buy a house.
what if they did like original sketches in them too? Like you could do, they could do so much. Like,
oh, absolutely.
The other thing is though, in the comic world, all these artists, writers, whoever it is that's going to sign this comic, are whoring themselves out at all these conventions anyway, so you can get a signature. Jordan does not probably sign that much. Let's be realistic. Not to say he never signs, but the price is not cheap.
Well, but this wasn't even a sign. I mean, this wasn't even a sign thing.
Yeah.
And there are tons of Jordan autographs out there because he did so much with Upper Deck Authenticated. That
I'm not saying that, you know what I mean, to get something new now.
Oh, to
whereas a comic artist can't help from whoring themselves out to a degree because they have a limited lifespan.
Well, the problem too is like trying to get, and maybe Ben might know this better than everybody else, trying to get Jordan on a one-on-one or some where you don't have massive amount of body. Like obviously he goes to Vegas a lot. Like if you bumped into Vegas in a casino with Jordan, it's not like you gotta have your card on you, and B, you gotta get close enough to get his attention, which is probably highly unlikely, right?
I'm sure he's got some autographs in the newer cards.
Well, he does. The third one on your guys' list, I think, was a signed card, right?
Yeah, the second one was signed too, right?
Upper Deck, like Ben says, Upper Deck has exclusive rights to Michael Jordan, so he won't sign any other cards other than Upper Deck now. And they have him sign probably 1,000 cards a year, and they put it in their different types of sets.
Yeah,
maybe 500 a year.
Have you seen him sign something else in error, like besides an Upper Deck card?
Oh yeah, there's cards before he was exclusive with Upper Deck.
No, I meant now. Like, have you seen an error? Like he's somebody.
It would. My guess is it probably would not be. It wouldn't be something you could get out of a pack. It would have to be a kid getting a card signed in person.
Exactly.
And then getting it PSA DNA'd, authenticated.
Does Panini own Upper Deck?
No.
Okay.
They own
Donruss, right?
Yeah, they own Donruss, Leaf.
They own a lot.
Yeah.
They bought all that stuff out back a while ago.
Well, that's just them trying to compete with Upper Deck because it was hard to compete with Upper Deck back then. And Upper Deck lost a lot of its licenses. Like, was it Upper Deck? I forget who it was. Ben, you might know that they lost their license. So now whenever they
Oh, well, I mean, think about it. I mean, baseball, the only official card is Topps.
Yeah, so everybody else, you can't have their logos on them. So they like airbrush them out.
Right. So when you look at the Panini stuff, there's no.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even want it because it looks like it's some funky.
That's the National Treasures and the Immaculates. They're such nice looking cards, but then you like see the hat with no logo. You're like, it just looks fake. It looks bobo.
It looks cheesy.
But
when it's a high end product too.
Right. If you're gonna pay $1,000 for a box, I want
not have any logos.
Yeah, I want the team logo on the hat.
At least do pictures where the hat's on the side where you don't have to look at it. Like,
well,
I just don't understand that.
One of I think the thing that's important to talk about in that type of thing is a lot of these card companies are known now for certain sports. Upper Deck is known for hockey now. I mean, that's not known for it, but a lot of their best stuff is hockey, right?
The young
Topps
guns.
does the baseball. Football is a mix between Topps and Panini. And then basketball, the only thing I can think of in basketball nowadays is Panini and some Upper Deck, but not much Upper Deck. Yeah. So it's weird how that Upper Deck used to be the monster in this business. I mean, when they came out in '89, they threw the whole hobby on end, and they ruled that roost for a long time.
Those
hologram logo on their card.
Dude, opening up that first foil pack from them, you're like, oh my God, it's not wax.
Yeah, it was amazing, right? You can't search them. Even the packages are high end, and that was back then. And I mean, with how crazy high end stuff is now, compared to back then, we had no idea.
Good. No, I think that's a great topic, boys. I mean, we need to expand on that probably in the future.
Keep an eye on some wild, great cards going off.
Yeah. I I want to move on this last topic because I kind of brought it up in the beginning. So I read this on a website. Again, someone's going to school me on some of this stuff because I didn't read this. Maybe Scotty might know more than anybody. Donny Cates receiving death threats over Venom.
Yeah, I don't understand. I think I'm like 2 issues behind, so I
Okay.
haven't read the most recent. I know this is talking about 11.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like people are upset. Like just get over it.
I guess I don't. What does it mean, shippers? I don't know what that meant.
Relationship.
Oh, is that what that means? Okay, I was confused.
Yeah, I think they're upset that Eddie and the symbiote are fighting.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you guys really that?
I mean, I guess there was supposed to be a romantic relationship between Eddie and this symbiote. I think. I guess that's.
Yeah, but to
certain part.
receive death threats over that, like.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
you're warring over the other. The other thing.
The internet's getting a little too wild for me.
Yeah. So it's very interesting. And then Donny Cates came back and he tweeted. He said, "Just thought I've received multiple death/injury threats over Venom 11. Just a few things. I'm not changing my plans for these characters. Threatening my life or injury to me is not the way to champion your cause. Shipping is fine, but this is insane."
Well, good for him. I'm glad he didn't apologize or.
Yeah, he's probably like, you hate that? Watch this, motherfucker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like,
no kidding.
He seems like the type of guy. Like, oh man, if he's probably gonna have him like do like a homosexual thing and piss off the other half of the people.
He's gonna be riding around the Pope Mobile at the cons.
Yeah, right. I just, people just need to get over it. Like same thing with the Star Wars people. Like, all right, the story isn't what you want, but who cares?
Move on, right?
Yeah, there's going to be plenty more movies. Like, just if you don't like that movie, then act like it didn't happen. It's that simple.
Yeah, they don't like the Star Wars movies now. Did they see episodes 1, 2, and 3?
Yeah, like nobody talks about how bad those
Jar
were,
Jar
and
Binks.
how pissed
Jar
people
Jar
were.
Binks.
Did you guys hear that Jar Jar was supposed to be the Supreme Sith Lord?
Yeah, that was all fake.
Yeah. But
You need a
Was it
force to
fake that-
kill me.
was it fake that Lucas changed his mind?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I remember hearing that he changed his mind because he was afraid of the backlash.
I feel bad about the actor though. He went like crazy depression because of how much hatred he
Jar
got.
Jar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the guy who played Jar Jar. Which
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what people cracks me up about these new ones. Like people forget Jar Jar. Like,
Yeah.
God, you
Him and
guys were
Bartman hanging out at the pub drinking beers.
no kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, or at least watchable. That first one was, oh my god, it was terrible.
Yeah, you can't watch it.
But
There's like 3 good scenes, and that's it.
And they all include Darth Maul.
Yep, I was about to say that.
Like, it's episode 3. I think it's underrated, but that's just me.
I agree.
I think fandom is getting a little too crazy. I think it comes down to like they feel like they own the property and they deserve to tell what the next story is. But it's like,
well, it's almost as bad as sports, man. Like I listen to the ticket out in Michigan here. The ticket, if people were aware, oh, it's terrible. Like what the Lions should do. Everybody calls up and says this is what the Lions should do. It's like, first of all,
that's Philly.
I know you're not the Forge or whoever owns the Phillies. It's like they can do whatever they want because they own the team, and why should they listen to you? It's like, I've been a Lions fan for the last 35 years. It's like who cares? Like. It's not like I highly doubt Martha Ford or the owners of the Phillies are listening to talk radio, taking advice from us slapsticks on what they should do with the franchise. Like,
no,
So
they're not listening to you at all.
Before we go, where do you think Bryce Harper's going to sign?
I heard it's
It's
Philly.
like LA right now.
You think I heard the Phillies?
At this point, honestly, like from a Philly perspective, I would tell him to go fuck himself. Like, you don't want to come here, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Because here's the
I'd
thing:
still be happy to have him on the Giants.
Philly is going to eat that man alive if he comes here.
Hey, we all know it's not the Tigers.
I'll make a prediction. If he comes here, Philly will eat him alive.
So is San Diego still in it? Because the last I saw was Giants.
I heard it was the Dodgers.
Yeah,
The Dodgers just
came
stepped
back.
in today.
Yeah.
Well, Dodgers is nice and sunny for him. Nobody's gonna give him shit out there.
LA's like 2 hours or 3 hours from his home.
And they can expand his brand out in LA.
I want the fish. Give me 2 more years. Give me the fish.
Yeah.
I say that the Eagles give him like they make a package deal, give him a box seats at the Eagles, and a long-term deal, and we'll be fine.
The thing about baseball, everyone says 10-year deals that never work.
You can't do that. Well, I think that's why he hasn't signed yet. I think the
Yeah.
owners are trying to revolt on that because.
Well, and that's what he's saying. He says it shouldn't be fair. We were talking about this at work. It's not fair that he's good and that they've overpaid hundreds of athletes over the years, and the contracts are getting too big. And Stein's a baseball fan; he knows this. It's huge, hugely overinflated numbers. Now the owners are like, we're going to retract. It's not his fault that you've set this precedent and he's come up and now you're trying to shortchange him, right?
A-Rod started it.
I mean, that's what happened.
Get the Bobby Bonilla contract.
Yeah, I
Oh,
know.
God. I love Bobby Bonilla Day.
No, that's great.
Well,
Yeah,
still got what? 5-10 more years?
Yeah.
Yeah, but is Harper even? I mean, is he really that great? I mean,
I
he
don't
was
know,
great.
man.
He
His
was great.
average ain't that great.
Yeah, it's only 279 or
Is there
270.
I'll tell you what.
anybody that great you want to pay him $300 million to play a
And
game?
he's like the Tony Romo of baseball. He gets in the postseason and he's not as good.
I'll tell you what. I wouldn't draft him in the first round of fantasy baseball.
I did, and I got killed for it. He got hurt.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I wouldn't draft him in the first round.
I mean, I'd take him, but
I'd take him in the second, yeah.
But
I mean,
he's not.
even Miguel Cabrera, who got $28 million a year in 2016, it's like he's a triple crown winner.
You know what the thing is, these guys don't understand, and this is why New England wins all the time. Is you can't have one player hamstring your whole team. Like Tom Brady takes pay. Tom Brady's like middle of the pack in payroll for quarterbacks.
They would cut his ass if they needed to.
Who?
Yeah, I mean they probably would. If they were
sell him for a hooker.
Yeah. Robert Kraft's paying more to the hookers.
Jeez, this guy. Did you ever see his little green screen thing with his girlfriend?
Oh God, it's great.
I love his moves.
He's still partying, man. He doesn't care.
I've been pissing my wife off. She's a Steelers fan. I'm like, Kraft just wanted the 7th ring, man. He wanted to beat the Steelers. He went for prostitution ring, man.
Him and Brady are like Mr. Burns and Smithers.
Or that
Steelers are in trouble now.
Did you guys see that Kraft wasn't the only famous guy? That LPGA's boyfriend's the other person.
Yeah, they said that list is that more news is gonna come out. Like was Adam Schefter was saying that list is gonna grow.
Yeah. So it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. All right, boys. This was a good one. I like this one. This was
a good show.
So next week, want to make the announcement, Z?
Oh yeah. I said it earlier, but we are going to have a foreign variant Palooza show. We're having a special guest. I'll announce it next week. I'm waiting to confirm that it's next Monday. But if you're into foreign collecting at all, it'd be awesome. If you're not, I'm going to show you why it is. Because
what kind of collecting?
Foreign variant collecting.
Oh,
foreign.
It
sounded like porn variants.
You're into foreign collecting.
Seen an ASM 300 Italian, you are losing on some awesomeness. And there are some stories behind some of these things that just make them amazing. If you've not seen 22 editions of ASM 129 together of different countries, different formats, different pictures, different colorings, I mean, it just blows your mind. So we're going to kind of wake some people up and show some cool shit.
You're going to be woke on foreign variants. You're going to be woke on it.
Get woke, go broke.
That's right. That's right. So again, I just want to announce that if you're looking, we always try to plug and play the website. If you're looking for any articles with comic book speculation, comicbookinvest.com. They proudly
Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, everything, man. There's groups, Google Plus is going away. MeWe's going to start cranking back up,
Also, do us a favor and smash that like.
Yeah, so like and subscribe.
I think we're doing the giveaway next week, right? We're going to extend that one more week.
We're going to extend the giveaway one more week. What we're going to do is if you share you share us on any kind of platform, tag us in it, and then we'll put you in the raffle.
I think we're giving away the CBSI variant, right?
Yep. I can show it to everybody.
We're going to do it this week. Paul was supposed to do it, so Paul's problem has led us away, so I apologize, everyone.
Maybe
Yeah,
you can get a number higher than I got.
Yeah, we will. I don't know what number it's going to be. Obviously, it might be 47. It might be 250. I don't know. Who knows? It could be any number in between. So it could be number one. Who knows? I mean, it could be a premium. I don't know.
On social media or share a review on one of the podcast sites like iTunes, and just shoot us a message, shoot us a link, let us know.
Cool. All right, boys. It's been great. I'll see everybody next week.
Thanks for
Good
listening.
night.
Later.